What draws us to the SRS is the not knowing what you're going to get. You come to an SRS event and you walk into the line to see what you're going to run.
The most challenging and funnest dog game I've ever competed in. I'm totally into the SRS.
I think it's awesome. I think it's addicting.
It's a heck of a lot of fun. I would recommend anybody who loves dog games to go to a qualifying event, try to get in it, go watch it. But man, making it to the crown is just awesome to see these animals here.
Reality, in my opinion, is, and I think we're all under the same opinion, these are the best all-around dogs in the country.
Welcome to the 2022 Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. Hello everyone, I'm your host David Hamilton alongside our two analysts, J. Paul Jackson and Rody Best. And guys, it is such a pleasure to be seated here with you today.
It's great to be here.
Yes, sir, buddy. Good to be back with you in the studio again.
Along with the two best analysts in the game, we have the world's best retrievers competing here in the Super Retriever Series. And this show, we're going to look at the amateur division. Now, guys, we've already had 4 test scenarios run in Shreveport, Bossier City already, and now we're heading into the 5th and final series. So let's talk about what it took for these dogs to get to this point.
Well, you know, the Super Retriever Series Crown Championship is about finding the best retriever in the country, and to get here, it truly takes an all-around dog. We had 78 competitors that made it here, and they're going to see a variety of field trials, hunt test, and hunt savvy. First series was a field trial, big and long. We had some water on the right and a really, really challenging bird out there on the left running past those pine trees. Next, we turned around on this amazing property and headed straight into an AKC hunt test scenario for our second series.
That's right, J. Paul. The AKC Hunt Test Series is designed to simulate a real hunting scenario. This particular test was 3 marks and a blind. Once we got through this first 2 series, we cut the field and took 36 teams, 18 opens and 18 amateurs, over to the Caspiano plantation, where the teams headed to water in a good old HRC style hunt test. The HRC hunt scenario is where the handler is actually shooting the gun at the line.
Saw some challenging work in this series, and once Series 3 was finished, the field was cut again to the top 24 teams, 12 open and 12 amateurs. These teams headed to our semifinal round again at the Caspiano plantation. This test was really, really tough. It was not only about making the cut, it was also just about surviving to get that opportunity. At the end of the day, we cut our field again and we're headed into our finals.
That's right, J. Paul. As we head to the finals, 6 amateurs, 6 pro teams. Today, we're just going to be looking at the amateur division. Taking a look here at the leaderboard. Remember, the lower score, the better. So Stormy and Stuart Williams in 6th place. They'll be the first of the line. And leading the pack is Rip and Ron Anderson with 264 faults. As the first team gets ready to come to the line, J. Paul and Rody, how about y'all walk us through the SRS virtual course?
Yes, sir, David. Now, this 5th series was a big, challenging test. 6 birds to be picked up, 5 marks. It starts with a long bird that's going to eventually retire to the left. This is a flasher. Second bird out is going to be a mallard. It's going to come out from left to right. Turn around and the handler runs a blind over those pine straw hay bales you see in the middle. Big penalty if you don't catch those. If the dog fails to jump them, 50 points. After they pick up the blind, the handler turns, walks over to the Thor boat, reaches into the apex bucket, grabs some shells, and loads his gun.
Now from there, you sit your dog down below your duck call, and Mark 3 comes out from right to left at 109 yards. Mark 4 is next, left to right, slightly angled back at about 60 yards. And the final mark, number 5, is left to right, angled back at 101 yards. Now these are all mallards, which are not as easy to see as the white and black flashers. Once the last bird hits the ground, you can pick up all 5 birds in any order.
Thanks, guys. Wow, what a test. And when we come back, we're going to have our first competitors, Stormy and Stuart Williams, at the line. The Super Retriever Series Crown Championship is presented by Eukanuba. Sporting dogs give us everything we ask and then some. Their nutrition should do the same. By the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission, visit Shreveport-Bossier, and by Louisiana Tourism. Feed your soul. Welcome back to the Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. We're here in Shreveport, Bossier City, Louisiana, and we're so glad to be here. Stepping up to the line first is Stuart Williams and Stormy. Registered name Rebel Ridge Polar Vortex QA2, call name Stormy. He's 9 years old, a male chocolate lab.
Yeah, Stormy comes in with a lot of experience at 9 years old. He's had a successful Derby career, won a couple of qualifyings, and also participated in Master and Grand Tests, so he's got a lot of experience coming up.
J. Paul, can you make up ground coming in from sixth place?
Oh man, with a test like this, David, you better believe you can. I mean, we're talking about 6 birds here that the dog has to pick up. 5 marks, a couple of them very, very challenging. And of course, the blind there down the middle with the pine straw bells that the dog has to cross. You know, missing that, you can rack up 50 points really, really quick as you see him start the blind here. So the judges have definitely done a great job setting up a test where the dog can make up some ground.
Stuart and Stormy have got to make sure they jump over these hay bales. Significant penalty if they miss them, so he's going to really stay close on Stormy here, keep him tight, don't let him get too much momentum, and make sure that he jumps that hay bale.
Yeah, and you can see there, he went right over the center, and you know, I would have expected that. I mean, this dog has a tremendous amount of experience, and he does work really, really well with his handler, Stuart.
These two have been competing together for several years, and as you said a few moments ago, this is their final run together, so hoping to put together a memorable one for sure. We talked to Stuart earlier and asked him, how is Stormy feeling this weekend?
You know, I don't know. It just depends on what dog he is when I go to the trailer to get him out. He's done a few things this week to surprise me, and I don't put anything past him. I plan on going out trying to kill it. This is it for him. This is retirement. If Stormy was a human, he would probably be the clown, the one that gets everybody in trouble, is always out of line. We spend a lot of time together, and it's tough. This is it, you know.
I'll tell you, we just heard from Stuart there, and as he walks over to the Thor Boats Lake Hammer, pick up the shells there at the Apex bucket, I guarantee you there's a whole lot of emotion going through him.
So he's blowing the duck call to start the test. We're seeing Mark 3 come out. Mark 4 is next. Doesn't look like he got a good look at that one. Mark 5 being the go bird. Definitely sees that one.
Yeah, Rhodey, he was locked on to that bird. And, you know, this dog's been around a long time, but he's still got a lot of pep to his step there. You see him, a lot of enthusiasm going out there to pick up that first bird.
Yep, and as we mentioned a few moments ago with the blind, 140 faults, but on that first mark there, 1 fault.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of marks in this test. There's 5 total marks to remember here, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little confused as he goes down and picks up the next couple of marks. There's quite a bit of stuff going on in this test.
Picked up the second one there clean as well, 3 faults on that one. But on this one, we're having a handle to the area, so that might cost him some points for sure.
Oh, he definitely picked up some points there. And for the guys that have been watching this for a long time, we had a little rule change. Not only did we pick up faults on the marks, but also the judges scored them on a basis of 1 to 10. So if you're wondering how he picked up a 1 and a 3, that's how.
43 faults there on the third mark.
And now we've got one of the field trial marks. It's a visible gun station, so if Stormy can just locate the throwers sitting out there in white, he should be okay, but he's checking up short a little bit here, making sure he didn't miss something, and then see if he pushes on out.
He really trusted himself there. I think he got a little sniff of something, but you could see he went on and pushed back.
And on that first field trial mark, a total of 20 faults.
And now for the big, long field trial mark. This one's way out there, and the dog has to go under the arc of that bird there on the left, has to go left of the long standout gun that he just picked a mark up, and still remember where this bird landed. It's retired as well.
tell you, I thought he was on a pretty good line there, but he made a quick handle. He was probably a little bit off the right. And Rhodey, I feel like this is probably going to be the money bird, the real challenge as far as the marks goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you've already dealt with 4 marks and a blind. The dog's obviously tired, and to remember that long bird out there is going to take a challenge.
44 faults on that final mark for a total of 255 here in the final series. As we know, this is Stuart and Stormy's final run. As you can see, Stuart getting a little emotional there, obviously, knowing that his dog's about to retire. A final 5 series total of 630. We have 5 more dogs to run, but a great one there by Stormy and Stuart. When we come back, Stephen Guzman to the line.
Second year running SRS. As you can see, he's very happy to be here.
I want to talk with you, Russ, a little bit about these dogs, what they've been through this week. You know, you and I were talking about it earlier. A lot of these dogs have been on the truck for several weeks, and that really takes a toll, doesn't it?
It really does, in terms of, you know, not only from an energy standpoint, but just the challenges to the GI system, you know, in terms of them being in one environment and the next week they're in a different environment, being exposed to a lot of different you know, situations. Yesterday and the day before, we were out on some wet courses, and of course those dogs getting in the water and doing those retrieves, they're going to drink some of that water. The dogs could, I'm going to say, have some GI upset. That's why it's really important to provide, you know, a food that supports that GI system, not only to manage the inflammation that goes on with that, but to try to promote that consistent stool output and just really manage their GI health. Certainly they've got enough challenges this morning. This is a really challenging course these dogs are getting ready to run. You know, with that, if the dog feels good, it's got a better chance of looking good.
Both literally and in the field as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, you guys, you've put in the time, you've done the research. I mean, you guys test on canine athletes just like we have here. So you're looking at the results of that and have developed what I truly believe to be a superior product. We obviously feed it in our kennels because it works.
Great info as always from our friends over at Eukanuba. We're back out here at the WK Palmetto Event Center, taking a quick look at the leaderboard where we see Stuart and Stormy with the only score so far through 5 series is 630. But up next, we're going to see Dre with handlers Stephen Guzman.
Dre is a 6-year-old male. He's no stranger to the SRS, where he made the finals last year, coming in first place last year, coming in this year in 5th place, I'm sure hoping to improve upon last year's performance and have a better showing in the finals. Dre is a all-around dog. He's had not only SRS accomplishments, but HRC accomplishments with a grand title, a master hunter title, and also qualified in field trials.
Yeah, and Steve Guzman and Dre, they hail from South Carolina. He comes into this series with a total of 342 faults through the first 4 series, and boy, that's a great start right there. And Rhodey, you got to know that he had to feel good seeing Dre just leap right over the middle of those pine bales.
Yeah, I think once you jump over that hay bale, about half the blind you can relax on. But this finish here at the end is not easy. The dog gets a little too far right, and it seems to be hard to get back to the left again. A lot of trees in there. Handler's got to remember which tree the blind was at. And it looks like he winded it right there.
Yeah, I think he got a nose full. You can see the orange ribbon tied around the big tree there. It's picked up the blind. He walks back over to the Thor boat, grabs some shells, and loads up to shoot the hunt test marks.
And that blind, 41 faults total there as they're now lining up for the marks.
Yeah, now we get to see how Dre behaves at the line with the gun over him. Look at that happy tail, happy feet. Definitely loves this part.
We had a chance to catch up with Stephen and talk a little bit about Dre.
So this is Dre. This is our second year of the Crown and second year running SRS. As you can see, he's very happy to be here. If he was a human being, I'm pretty sure he'd probably be a track star. He don't really have many other gears except one, and it's pretty wide open. So I always say whether it's going to go good or bad, it's going to go quick with him. So that's pretty much a guaranteed fact. Dre's been running really good. You know, the tests have been awesome, but some of the series just really didn't set well for him. He's not the kind of dog that's good at running blinds through the woods because of speed. So anything that I see more so wide open, I tend to feel a little more easy about how well it can go versus how quickly it can go wrong, if that makes sense.
While Stephen was talking to us there, they picked up the first 3 marks for a combined total of 84 faults. Now we're looking at field trial 1 here.
Oh, he smacked that mark. He had no problem with that at all. And we see him going for the last bird here and looks a little far right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I don't think that Stephen is going to let Dre get in trouble here. You know, last year he came into the finals in first place, and we watched him gamble just a little bit. Definitely cost him. It was very, very tough to actually watch at points there. But I think he's learned from that. And you see so far he's been, right there, real quick whistle as he turns to the right. He's trying to keep him under control for sure.
Yeah, Stephen looks a little panicky. I know he's got last year's memories coming through his head. He does not want to blow up on this last bird. All he's got to do is pick this bird up. There it is.
He's got it.
A total of 50 faults there on the final bird for a total of 179 this series, and a 5-series total of 521, moving them up to first. We still have more dogs to run, but guys, get your swimsuits and your sunscreen. Up next, we're headed over to the dock. The Super Retriever Series Crown Championship is presented by Eukanuba. Sporting dogs give us everything we ask and then some. Their nutrition should do the same. By Thor Boats and Lucky Duck Kennels. And by Splash Super Pools. We're now out at the Louisiana Boardwalk for our Super Dock Crown Championship. Today we're taking a look at the Tyke Fly and the Mini Fly. Tyke Flies for little kids and Mini Flies for little dogs. Let's take a look at our Tyke Fly competitor, Emily Braden, and her dog Colt here on the dock.
Well, what a neat way to get your kids started in dog jumping.
I mean, look at that smile on her face too. You think she's happy to be here?
Well, she's got an arm on her.
We also have a spot for our small dogs, as I mentioned, in our Mini Fly competition. This is dogs 16 inches below the withers. Right here is Joby and his handler, Jacob Weaver. They hail from Georgia. They're, of course, enjoying their day. He also has another dog out here, Jacob, with his dog, Tippy.
Yeah, Tippy looks a little bit unsure right there, running back and forth. There we go.
Tippy finally in the water, swimming out there to get the bumper, and then we'll bring it back over to Jacob. Always a great time with the Tyke Fly and the Mini Fly. So as you see here, Tippy in first, Joby in second in our Mini division, and Colt and Hammer in first and second in our Tyke Fly. Let's head back over now to our retriever trials, and stepping up to the line is Smoke and handler Ron Anderson. They're from Ethel, Louisiana.
Yes, and Smoke's registered name is Sweetbriar's Smokin' Joe.
The 2018 Crown Champions come into this final series with a total of 315 faults.
He's doing a really good job here attacking this blind.
We had a chance to catch up with Ron and hear a little bit about him and Smoke.
This is Smoke. He won the amateur division of the Crown in 2018, so he's got all the titles, the Crown Champion, amateur Crown Champion title, and the amateur title, and he's a hunter retriever champion, master hunter, qualified all age. He's just about done it all. Got a good career, you know, got 1 Grand Pass, still needs 1 more for that title. Since 2018, myself and Chuck McCall will run him in the open division since he was a lifetime qualifier for the Crown. So the goal of mine was to get that title. We're still 1 win away from that title. We've got all the points. We've had every placement except for first. So we've been close, but haven't been able to quite finish that on the weekend.
And looking here at the end of the blind as Smoke picks up the bird, Smoke and Ron had a total of 49 faults on the blind.
Yeah, and with the blind picked up, we see him walk over to the boat and grab some shells. He's loading his gun and coming back to the line. Now, these are hunt test style marks, so he'll be shooting these. And I'll tell you, guys, I really, really like Smoke. He's a stylish dog. Look at this, 9 years old. He's coiled up like a spring and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ron, though. I know when I'm up there as a handler running a dog like this pitter-patter with his front feet, I'm just as nervous, and Ron seems as relaxed as can be.
Now, Rody, we saw Ron switch hands there with the gun. Is that something you do?
It's not something I do, but a lot of handlers do. I just can't get away from shooting both ways. I shoot one way, and that's it.
Second ago, we saw the scores there for the first 3 marks, 8 faults, 2 faults, and 36 faults.
He's got a really good line on this bird here. This is Smoke's game. Smoke's really good at the field trial game. I mean, ran right to that bird, what we call stepped on it.
And the score shows it with only 8 faults there on that first field trial mark.
Tell you, he's got a really good line going on the second mark, too. You know, to me, he left the line like he knew exactly where he was going.
This is the first time we've seen a dog get left, and let's see if it pays off here. Yep, he winded it right there. Looked like he got a little sniff and turned and got it. That was a good job on that one.
Absolutely. Only 5 faults on that final mark there for a Series 5 total of 108 and a 5 Series total of 423. Now, next week, we'll see 3 more come to the line to complete our amateur division, and we'll crown a champion. We'll see more dogs on the dock as well. We'll see you next week. You've been watching the Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba.